and he was always trying to get people to go inside the museum. And so one thing he did, for instance, was on a balcony of some kind of place next door to his museum, he placed a band that was like the worst band he could find, and the music was so awful and was so irritating that people ran into the museum to escape the noise. And that's how he got them inside, because he knew once inside they would be entranced. So he knew indirectly and strategically how to get people inside his museum, and that's sort of, I kind of follow that model and show you some other examples.
That's wild. That's a wild story. How did you hear about The Craft of Power, the book by R.G.H. Sue? Very few people even know about that book.
Yeah, it's a weird book. It came out in the 70s, I believe, and it's pretty much out of print, I believe, for quite a long time. And when I was doing the research, back before really you could do internet research, we're talking 1996, 97, you still had to use libraries, and I would go scour the power sections, anything with the word power in it. It was kind of a very tedious process, and through that, I discovered the book and then ordered a copy of it and loved it. I mean, for every 10 books that had the word power in it, they were absolutely terrible, and I threw them away, but that one was a really good book.
Yeah, that's a keeper. I'm sure you read the Book of Five Rings.
Yes, that's Miyamoto Musashi.
Yes.
He figures very prominently in the 33 Strategies of War. The brilliant Japanese samurai strategist who wrote the Book of Five Rings just before he died. And, as I said, he was one of the most brilliant samurai swordsmen, and his stories, the Book of Five Rings is a great book, highly recommended, but the stories of Musashi's life are almost even more interesting and fun and telling, and I narrate a lot of those in the war book because he was, if you can imagine, as a samurai, he faced sword one-on-one duels in which it was basically to the death, and I don't know how many times he survived because he was just an insanely clever strategist. So his book is great, and the stories of his life are just incredibly entertaining.
Word has it that he was a great tea maker, that he would make tea, sit down and have tea before he would go out in every single fight.
Well, that I didn't know, but I would believe it because he was very aesthetically inclined. The whole tea ceremony, was imbued in Japanese culture at that time, and people who were great swordsmen, and all of the crafts were related. So making tea, being a samurai, flower arrangement, whatever, they were all kind of thought of as interrelated. And the idea of kind of grinding your own green tea, which is literally what they would do, was probably a really good way to concentrate the mind and relax him before he went into battle. I imagine that was probably part of what he was doing.
You're a very interesting man, Robert Greene. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience today?
No, I mean, we didn't talk about the seduction book. We can talk about that again later. And then the 50th Law, my most recent book, I highly recommend in that it's not. This, as I said, was co-written with the rapper 50 Cent. It's not a biography. It's really more an essay about how to deal with fear in life, because I think that's a major issue nowadays in wake of 9/11. But in general, people are just, I think, a little too fearful. And this is sort of a meditation on the 50th Law is on how you can overcome your fears, because it's extremely human. He has them, I have them, and sort of the power that is waiting there for you if you sort of take a little bit bolder approach to life. So that's a book. If you want something a bit inspirational on that level, I would recommend it.
I'd like to read that. Thank you so much for being our guest, Robert. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with, learning from, and listening to Robert Greene, the author of The 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The 33 Strategies of War, and The 50th Law. If you would like to order the book, you can go to powerseductionandwar.com. Robert, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Me too.